Welcome to Intermittent Fasting for the Win. I'm Mike Saunders, author of the book Intermittent Fasting for the Win.
And I'm Jalene, longtime faster, preschool teacher, health advocate, and fitness coach at Curbs Clubs for Women.
Join with us as we endeavor to help you become more knowledgeable about intermittent fasting.
Whether it be an interview with a fellow faster or a podcast featuring a particular subject, we will be sure to give you the tips and information to make you a winner when it comes to IF.
The information provided in this presentation is for general knowledge and informational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. It is beneficial to consult with a qualified healthcare professional for any health concerns or before making any decisions related to your health or treatment. This content is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Today's podcast is about a subject that a lot of people may not think about. We're going to talk about overfasting, or as you might want to say, excessive fasting beyond healthy limits, and how it can have significant negative health impacts. In this episode, we explore why and talk about staying healthy while optimizing your fast. But first, let's establish what constitutes overfasting. Jalene, are you ready?
I'm ready, Mike.
All right. What, in your opinion, is overfasting?
To me, if you're brand new, I know so many people want to jump right in. I did too, and I'm not judging anyone.
No. Never.
But the problem is when you just jump right in and don't allow yourself time to adjust and don't allow your body to become fat adapted. It makes fasting, first of all, super hard. And then so many people, like you hear all the time, I tried intermittent fasting, but it didn't work for me. And one of my first questions is, how did you start? And when someone tells me, oh, I had a 1 hour eating window and it didn't work, it's like, well, bingo, you weren't fat adapted yet and you were over fasting. It's important to start slow. And slow and steady wins the race, as they say.
And also not just fat adapted, also they are probably most likely almost 100% guaranteed they are insulin resistant.
Yes. Yeah, that's a really good point. And also a lot of them are not fasting clean, which is a totally different topic. But if you are not fasting clean, if you are putting cream in your coffee, you are making your fast so hard and you're actually not fasting. You're doing a low calorie diet. So totally different topic, but important to say, I think.
Very important topic. Just right quick, in case somebody's listening, you're just getting started. Mm-hmm. Clean fast is black coffee, black tea, no creamers, no sweeteners, no flavor profiles other than the bitterness of the coffee, water, sparkling water, but with no flavor profiles.
Yeah. And one tricky ingredient is citric acid. It's in a lot of bottled teas and bottled coffees, and that will trigger an insulin response too. It has a little bit of a sweet tart taste, and it will tell your body, ooh, food's coming in, and will just start an insulin release. And
okay, so what we're establishing here is overfasting.
Yes.
Can occur no matter whether you're doing time-restricted eating or ADF, or if you're just wanting to go further than a mealless Monday for some reason.
Yes, definitely.
It can happen in any situation.
Yeah, and the issue is if let's say you're doing 23-1, which is really not recommended. Jen
No.
doesn't recommend it at all. You're really not going to be able to get in all the nutrition you need in that 1 hour. I mean, there might be some people. I think I know one person in all the years that I've been fasting. I know one person that has been successful with that, and he eats a lot in his 1 hour. But it's really not recommended. That's not good for your body to eat
Okay.
that
Okay.
much food in 1 hour.
Well, that brings up the first topic. So from this point on, we're going to be talking about what can go wrong if a person fasts too much for too long or doesn't have a big enough window. And the first thing on my list is nutrient deficiencies.
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. You
Mm-hmm.
can't get in enough nutrition in 1 or 2 hours.
Yes.
I
And that,
personally don't think you can get enough in with even 3. I think 4 to 5 is, for me and for a lot of people in the community, is the sweet spot.
yes. I think that 20 and 4 is a perfect thing if you want to lose weight. If you want to maintain, go with the 16-8 or an 18-6, or if you like the 24, go with the 24, but just make sure that you're getting enough nutrients.
Yeah, it's so important too. The fast is really important, but the feast is just as important.
Now, before we go on to the next one, understand that I am not a person who's saying, oh, you should never fast more than 36 to 40 hours, because on occasion,
Mm.
I have fasted for 72 hours, but I did not do it to lose weight. I did it because there was something that needed to be reset in my body, and it accomplished that. And I went right back to just a regular time restricted eating.
Right,
So
right.
let's get that out of the way. But what we're talking about here is if somebody does that on a too frequent basis, if they say, well, I'm going to do a 72-hour fast every week,
Mhm.
I don't think that's a good idea. Do you?
No, and in fact, the guidelines for a lot of groups are you need medical supervision if you do anything over 42 hours.
Exactly.
At least check with your doctor.
Yes. Yes.
Just because 72 hours is a long time, and you can really mess up your electrolytes if you're not careful.
Okay. That's
But
on
I
the
do, but I
list.
do agree. I do agree that extended fasting is really great for healing, as long as you're doing it properly and having a proper
Yes.
refeed,
Yes.
and you have some
So you
medical supervision.
you just hit on the fourth thing on my list, but we'll
Sorry, I'm
knock
jumping
it
ahead.
out. We'll knock it out, and that's electrolyte imbalances. And
Mhm.
that can occur if you're over fasting, your magnesium, potassium, and all of that stuff can get out of whack, and it can cause everything from heart palpitations to arrhythmias. And
Yeah.
that's not somewhere you want to be.
No, I know people that have ended up in the ER for having electrolyte imbalances. It's not something to mess around with at all. So you got to be really careful with that.
And something else we need to address, we're not making this podcast because we want to scare people.
True.
We want you to enjoy your intermittent fasting, and we want you to practice your intermittent fasting and get good at it. We just want to try and get ahead of the game and let you know about these things that could potentially happen if you just go crazy with it.
Yeah. And I've been part of the community for so long that I've seen it numerous times over and over again. People coming in hot and fast.
Yep.
It's the fasting Olympics, and having a huge amount of success. And then all of a sudden they're like, what's happening? I
Yep.
stopped losing. And in fact, I'm starting to gain all of my weight back. And they haven't been properly refeeding, and they went in so quick. And again, not a judgment, because I'm the rip off the band-aid kind of gal too. So I
Yep.
totally get, we want immediate results in our
Absolutely.
society, and it takes time.
Yes, it does. So the third thing on my list, jumping back up, is metabolic slowdown.
Mm-hmm.
If you overfast, you run the risk of slowing down your metabolism, and it just kind of goes into starvation mode.
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Too much, too fast. You can lose quickly, and then all of a sudden your body is like, wait, 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 what's happening? I'm in starvation mode. And that's when the weight loss stops and you can gain that weight back. So we
Okay.
don't want that to happen.
No, 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 no. Another very important thing is that if you go too fast, too far, and over fast and get in that situation, you can also weaken your immune system, can you not?
Yeah, because you're not getting in the nutrients you need, and your electrolytes might be off balance, and that really affects your immune system.
Hmm.
It really does. It taxes it.
So what about other like gastrointestinal issues like constipation or bloating? Uh, do you know anybody who's experienced those because they took it a little bit too far?
Yes, I've heard numerous people who have done extended fasting, and then as soon as they open their window, it doesn't matter what they open their window with, they have major stomach issues. Uh,
Yes.
so you got to be careful with that too.
You know, uh, I think about, I always go back to this because it's stuck into my mind, even though I wasn't fasting at the time and I didn't even know about intermittent fasting. I remember the miniseries Band of Brothers. Did you ever watch that?
No.
Okay, it's about World War II. And one of the episodes, the guys are over there, and I think they're in Poland or somewhere like that, and they come up on one of the concentration camps.
Mhm.
And those people in the concentration camps they were in starvation mode. I mean, they were emaciated, and the soldiers didn't know any better. They just started giving them food. And the doctor, a medical doctor, came rolling along with the rest of the officers, and he said, "Stop, stop, stop. You can't just give them food because they will literally kill themselves."
Yeah.
And I got that stuck with me. And so that's why if you're getting to the point where you're over fasting,
Mhm.
uh, know that can be a thing. You can't just cram in a bunch of food in 1 hour.
Yeah, and that can really make your stomach upset, which can cause dehydration and just so many different problems. So,
It's
yeah. And
it, you know,
I have heard that story before. I don't know if you told it to me before, but I have heard that story about the concentration camp.
it's true. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole miniseries was based on a true story. They followed the 101st Airborne Division all the way through the war, but
Yeah.
that's crazy. You can't just cram it in.
Yeah. You got to take it slow.
Yeah. And that's what we're talking about here is you need to be moderated. You need something that you can work with, stick with, and something that's going to give you the nutrients on a regular basis.
Right. And
So
we want to make this a lifestyle. I don't know about you, but I don't want to spend the rest of my life having these really, really, really long fasts and then feeling terrible when I refeed. I want to go slow and feel good and enjoy my food and
yes,
enjoy my fast too.
yes. Yesterday I had a 20 and 4 was that I had a 4-hour eating window
Mhm.
and closed it and went immediately to bed and was satisfied, and it was just wonderful.
Yeah, I did a modified down day. So I had a mini meal at 3 o'clock.
Ah, did
Yeah,
you use one of the recipes out of the book?
I didn't. I went to my go-to. I made my own hummus and I had kale, little bit of chicken. I can post a picture later if you want to see.
Yeah,
but
post a
it
picture.
was really, really good, had a lot of nutrients, and I felt completely satisfied. And as
Hmm.
soon as we're done taping this, I'm going to open my window because this is another important, hopefully I'm not jumping ahead. After you have an extended fast or you're doing ADF, you need to be able to open up your window the next day, your up day, early enough to get in at least two meals, two
Yes.
two full meals to do a proper
No,
feed.
no less than two meals.
Yeah, a lot of people do three, and some people do 12 hours to get a proper refeed. I
Hmm.
usually do two because I'm in maintenance and I really know what I need now, but it took me a few years to figure it out.
Yeah. Another thing that can go wrong, and this is not a good thing either, is your hormones can get all out of whack.
Yeah. Yeah, that's scary. In fact, just this morning, I was reading in one of the fasting communities about a woman who really hurt her thyroid from she was doing 36-hour fast for 4 months.
Hmm.
But the issue was she didn't properly refeed. She would do a 36-hour fast, and then the next day she said she didn't feel hungry, so she just wouldn't eat very much. And I feel so bad for her. Her thyroid is so out of whack. She's on 4 different medications right now to try to get it back.
Yeah. And it's just I mean, hormones, when you think about hormones, people say, well, my thyroid. No, hormones are cortisol,
Mm-hmm.
insulin,
Mm-hmm.
even your thyroids that are linked to your menstrual cycles.
Yeah, estrogen, progesterone, it affects all of them.
Yeah, yeah. And then last on my list is organ stress.
Mm,
I mean, your liver, your kidneys, even your heart can be affected if you do not give yourself the proper nutrients on a regular basis.
right, right.
And so, uh, and then finally, mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And that is tied to something that we need to talk about, and that's eating disorders.
Yep, that's exactly what just popped into my head when you said that.
Yep.
If you're coming to intermittent fasting with an eating disorder, you need to get help first with your eating disorder, because you can use fasting as an eating disorder. People do it. It's a very it's scary. It's a scary thing. So you really have to get help first before coming to fasting, and then make sure your therapist is on board once you do get the help.
Yep. Cardiovascular problems are on my list too, because if we talked about it up top, and when your electrolytes get imbalanced, that can cause palpitations and
Mm-hmm.
arrhythmias. And
Yeah,
anytime you got something like that going on with uh, your heart is going to struggle, and it's gonna modify itself to try and compensate for that,
yeah.
and it's never, ever, ever going to be a good thing.
Yeah, you shouldn't feel dizzy while you're fasting. You shouldn't have heart palpitations. Fasting should feel good. I mean, you're going to get hungry sometimes. Hunger is not an emergency, but feeling dizzy or heart palpitations is a sign of stress on your body. And it's a sign to open your window and possibly get medical attention. In
You know,
my
I had a hunger pang about 45 minutes ago.
Mhm.
And what did I do? I got up out of my chair and I went outside and I hauled the garbage up to the road because they're going to pick it up tomorrow. And just in that short amount of time, the hunger pang went away. Now, if that had been a true hunger pang or had been some other signal from my body that I was in a deficit of some kind from nutrients, that
Mhm.
would have gone away that quickly.
Yeah, that's true. Usually they say if you get a hunger pain, if you can wait 15 to 20 minutes and it goes away, then you're fine. But if it's consistent, if you just feel ravenous after that 20 minutes, then it's probably time to open your window.
Yep,
I
you
did the
did.
same thing yesterday. I started to feel a little bit hungry, and I was like, I'm not ready to eat yet. So I went outside and I watered and swept and, did a little things in the garden, and it went away. And then I didn't eat for another 2 hours.
There you go.
Easy peasy.
And that's how it works. But like we just said, if for some reason you go and do that, water the garden or whatever, and that thing doesn't go away, you need to go ahead and eat something, most likely.
Yeah, yeah. The thing I love about fasting is it's really taught me how to listen to my body. And
Yes.
I feel like I'm so in tune now. I know what foods do work for me and what foods don't work for me. Doesn't mean I'm perfect. There's still days where I eat something just because I want to, even though I know it's not the best for me. But I know I have that information, and it's a choice that I'm making. And that doesn't happen that often, but none of us are.
I am behind you, but not that far. I am 1 year and almost 5 months into
Woohoo!
fasting now, and I am still, even though it's been that long, I'm still learning how to listen to my body.
Mhm.
And I probably will be for some time, but at some point in time, I'll know all of these things, even better. Well,
Yeah, just
before
gets better and better.
we go, if you're listening and you got a pencil and a paper, write this down. I want to give you some studies, some actual studies that shed light on overfasting. In 2025, Nature Metabolism, you can Google it. 2025 Nature Metabolism. They did a study on 10-day water only fasts. Now, a 10-day water only fast, I consider that to be overfasting
Yeah.
because your body is going to suffer for that. That's like being on the ocean without any food for 10 days,
Yeah.
So
I'm sure
that's
that was
one. Yeah,
medically supervised.
yeah, that's one study that you can go and read online for free. Another
Mhm.
one is, Google this one, 2024 Queen Mary 7-day study. Queen Mary 7-day study. And then another one is in 2024, it was done by MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and was published in the Nature magazine, and it focused on refeeding aggressively with negative impacts. And that's what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
You go on a long fast and then you try and just cram some food down. And they did an actual study on that at MIT, and you can Google it and find it online. So,
Interesting.
so we've covered a lot. So sum it up for us, Jalene. What's the best way to keep from over fasting?
Listen to your body. I like to think the day before what my plan is going to be for the next day. I like to have nutritious foods that I love available. So when I open my window, I'm not, just ravenous and overeating. Can I say one more thing, though? I think that we left out.
Go for it.
OMAD, 1 meal a day. A lot of people talk about doing OMAD. OMAD was never intended to be one plate a day.
Right.
OMAD is considered like a meal in a fancy restaurant with like an appetizer, a salad, a main dish, and then maybe dessert later. And it should be in a 4 to 5 hour window and not just one plate a day. So,
Yes.
anyway, I thought that was kind of important because you hear that all the time. People say, I'm doing OMAD, I'm doing OMAD, and I'm not losing. And usually it's because they're over fasting.
I had a strange OMAD yesterday. It was a good one. Let me tell you what I did. You'll
Okay.
never guess what I opened with. Never in a million years.
Beans?
No, I opened with pork rinds.
Ooh, I used to love pork rinds.
I opened with pork rinds, and then a little bit later, Vicky cooked liver and onions over rice, and so I had liver and onions over rice. And then to close my window out, I had a homemade apple fritter.
That sounds amazing. I don't know about the liver. I want to love it. I just haven't been able to find the love for it. Sounds like a very healthy meal.
But that was like 3 courses there. You know,
Yeah.
that was an opener, then a
Right.
main meal, and then a dessert, you know. And I went to bed it was wonderful.
You
And
probably felt satisfied. You got all the nutrients you needed for the day, and you still had a beautiful fast before and after.
yep.
That's the goal. Fast,
So
feast,
we'll
repeat.
wrap this one up and tell everybody goodbye.
Bye, everybody. See you next time.
Bye.
If you need more information on fasting and want to join with a community of people who embrace this lifestyle, let us recommend that you go to Facebook and search for Intermittent Fasting for the Win, and also search for Clean Fasting Jalene. Either of these groups will help you along the way. Also, the book Intermittent Fasting for the Win by Michael Saunders is available on Amazon.com. We also recommend that you read Jen Stevens' books, Delay, Don't Deny, and Fast, Feast, Repeat. Thanks, and make sure to subscribe to this channel so that you will know when the latest episodes become available. We'll see you next time.